I'm here with Marcelo Buril of Prime Point Mortgage. Is that what it's called? Yes. I'm here with Marcelo Buril of Prime Point Mortgage. He gave me a great lesson today. And this is for agents out there. So if you're not an agent and you don't care about saving money on your mortgage, you can scroll on by.
Scroll on by, man.
Scroll on by.
We see you in the next video.
Seriously, this is about how to save $40,000. Really, $91,000 is the math. So listen, it's important to know you got to get a better interest rate right now. Am I right?
Yeah, interest rate is really high. So the combination of high home prices with high interest rate is deadly for the buyer.
Deadly.
So what we're trying to convey? What we're trying here to convey to the buyer's agent out there is that how can you educate your buyer to the perception that, this price is too high, I want this type of discount. Well, if you come across a seller who's willing to negotiate, which finally we're at that point where there's not a whole lot of inventory, but there's not a whole lot of buyers because of the combination of high price, high interest. So the buyers that are out there are finally having an opportunity to bring the seller to the table and let's negotiate, right? So
we have your solution.
Yeah. So
I like pointing.
So yeah. So here is Ethan currently has a listing, and the
560 Brickleberry Ridge, Athens, Georgia. Completely renovated. Everything's amazing.
Completely renovated and all. And the seller is willing. The seller is willing to negotiate. Now, our goal here today is what's the best option. So let's go one by one. Mr. Seller, I like the house, but the price is too high. I want a $10,000 discount on the asking price.
I am willing to give you a $10,000 discount.
So the buyers would be like, all right, fantastic. Let's sign the deal. Now, when you do the math, how much a month is that going to help your buyer?
So let's say you were making an offer on this listing and your loan amount is going to be $340,000.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're getting a current interest rate for today. What day is today? November 3rd.
So full disclosure, okay, because we got to be honest and upfront. The full disclosure is we ran the credit as somebody who has a 700 credit score and makes about $6,000 gross income every month.
Right.
So
this is a qualified buyer.
It's a qualified buyer for a conventional loan, checking all the boxes.
And they have some money for a down payment.
You have the 3% down to qualify for a conventional. You have good credit to qualify, and these are the numbers. So
really, just to be blunt, the savings per month is going to be like regardless of whether we're talking about 8.9% interest or 6.9. But today it's like, okay, you got to hear numbers. So 7.9%, if I drop the price, $10,000, you're only saving $32 a month.
$32.
But you just got a $10,000 lower price. Now, if what you really want is a better monthly payment, which if you're getting a loan, that is the point of getting a better deal. So don't think of negotiating as only dropping the price.
Right. So the best way, what we're trying to point out here is let's get that incentive towards the rate.
Right.
So instead of just shaving off the top, but what we need to break down is the perception from the buyers that that's a huge deal. Oh man, yeah, the house is going to be so much better if they cut $10,000. So we did the reverse analysis here. Let's say
put $10,000 towards the
10,000
actual rate buy down.
Right.
A permanent buy down is what we did the math on. We will save you $254 per month on a $10,000 rate buy down. So you're dropping from 7.9 to 6.875% in this scenario, and you're going to save $254 a month instead of
$32. You're buying down
which I did just describe, 7.9, 6.87.
And then again,
you got to pay that up front to the mortgage company so that they give you a lower rate.
Yeah, because basically what they're doing is it's a risk-reward type thing, right? So the lender is going to give you that money. How much? $340K. Okay, here you go. I need this much back in form of interest for that investment. So now you're coming into the lender and saying, hey, by the way, what happens if I give you 10 grand? And they say, oh, you're going to give me 10 grand? Well, in that case, I can give a better rate. So you're buying down the rate, which basically you're giving that lender money up front. So evidently they like you because you're already putting skin in the game. You're buying the rate down. So there are many different buy downs. There are many different ways, 2-1, 3-2, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But what we're talking here is an opportunity to educate your buyer to, instead of getting the money towards the asking price, that's great, but it's not the best bang for the buck.
It's not even great. It's not even a good idea at all.
It's just
to get a $10,000 discount right now, unless you're a cash buyer. Okay, great.
There you go. Now we're talking.
But we're not talking about those. We're not talking to those buyers.
Different scenario. Yeah. You come in and you're buying that same house, and you come in with $340K, and you say, I'm buying cash, and I'm gonna offer you $330. Well, that buyer saved 10 grand. He saved automatically. So that's upfront because he's not financed. He got cash. It's a whole different ball game. So we need to do a better job as realtors educating the buyers on different scenarios and actually more effective ways to save money, because you're talking here the life of the loan.
Right. This is not a 2-1 buy down or any other kind of buy down. This is a permanent interest rate buy down. Right. So that the whole time you're paying your loan, 6.875 on this scenario.
Full disclosure, because we got to follow regulations, right? Yeah. About anytime you do percentages and APRs and things like that, you have to comply. So this is a scenario that we created here. This is not a live scenario. We're using numbers in a computer-generated model, and today on a snapshot on the day. So the bottom line, what we're trying to do here is don't get attached to the numbers. Is if we're going to point out is really you can save 1% of what's going to cost you monthly, or 10%, more or less, give or take.
Right.
If you instead of
so that basically what he's saying is that if you pay down your rate to have a lower rate with $10,000, you'll save 10% for the life of the loan.
Yeah. Right.
And so
in this scenario,
and we even did the math further. Like if you kept that mortgage for 30 years, and if it was a $340,000 mortgage, you're going to save $91,000.
The life
because compound interest is different than just taking 10% of $340,000.
Exactly.
So,
and then we also went as far as creating. Okay, so your buyer has a limit on what they can afford monthly. All right, so to keep that same monthly payment in this scenario, the buying power goes from $340K to $300. So now you're talking a $40,000 cut off the top of the price. And if you know a seller that's willing to do that, give us a call. We have buyers.
Yes.
We have buyers.
So, yeah, important. In summary, realtors out there, and this is not just Athens, this is not just Georgia.
Nationwide.
This is nationwide.
Really, it's educational.
You want your buyer to have a lower interest rate instead of just having a price discount right now. In the past, when interest rates were much better, we as realtors thought the only answer to a house not selling is the price. Lower the price and you're going to sell the house. Well, right now, lower the interest rate. A seller concession, $10,000, $15,000, whatever they feel comfortable in doing. It's up to the seller on how motivated are they really to sell that house, because saving $250 a month is much better than just saving $30.
Yep.
So keep that in mind with all your buyers. Go educate them. Now you're educated. subscribe to our channel.
Give us a call if you have questions. We're here to help.
Call Marcelo Buril
The 1 in a million Brazilian.
from Prime Point Mortgage.
Yes.